Well, thanks for tuning in now. I'm excited about this because I have a slight background in photography. I had a little photography business for a while. I wouldn't say I was great at it, but I got by. But so this is a topic I am keen to talk about. And joining me now is Suze Solari. She's running the Author Nation Industry Expo event. She's also one half of the Solari Power Duo. And we have Arpit Mehta, he's a visual artist and creative Sherpa. He's the headshot photographer for Author Nation. Welcome both of you to the State of the Nation. I'm on so many different podcasts, I
Oh,
almost called us something else.
don't do that.
So let's start. Suze, first of all, let's
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about your background and what your relationship is with as we're going to talk about what is important when it comes to like an author headshot, why that matters.
Mhm.
But Suze, what's your role in this part of the world?
Right. Well, thanks so much for asking that. As I mentioned, the liaison support for the sponsors and vendors for the show, but my background is in personal styling and image consulting. Matter of fact, I have a business in image consulting. So essentially, I help people to get dressed every day. And a lot of that centers around helping them show up as a unique individual with their personal branding when it comes to all the kinds of things we're doing now with video and being on camera, having photo shoots
Yeah.
and all that, how important that is. So I got my start in interior design years ago, and that translated so well into helping people show up as their best selves. And I started writing books about 10 years ago as a way to promote my business, and that's how this whole kind of book thingy,
Yeah.
independent author thingy, started with Joe and I. As you
Okay.
guys know, Joe is my husband,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
not my
The
dad.
origin story. Yeah, I like that.
Exactly.
You're making me feel very self-conscious about both my wardrobe and my office space. So,
I
uh,
can help. Actually, you know what, Kevin? Your background is really good.
oh, thank you.
You've got a great background because it shows that you've got expertise in what you do. So there's books back there. You're like, okay, that guy's got something to do with writing
Yeah.
or expertise. You have your mic and your headphones showing,
Yep.
which again shows media, and so it's expertise. And you've got a good perspective.
Good.
So that's the other thing. For people who are watching us on YouTube, I should say, you can see our visuals. You can see
Yeah.
how, we're showing up on brand from the get-go without even saying anything.
Yeah.
And that's what's really key is our communication. And I can go
Yeah.
into a little bit more about the why when it comes to how we communicate our brand. What is personal branding and, why it's so important and then how to do it. So that's kind
Excellent.
of what I feel
We're
like
gonna
we're
loop
going to
back.
talk
I
about.
want to loop back to that. That's important.
Okay.
So Arpit, what as the creative Sherpa, which I love. I love that. If they put a lower thirds on the screen for you, I want to make sure they include that. But tell me a little bit about your background. Like, how'd you come to this?
So I've had an interesting journey. I actually fell into photography. I wanted to. Well, I've had a lot of different paths that I took, but the most recent one that led me to photography was I wanted to get into the music industry on the A&R side because I had friends that would constantly ask me for recommendations, and so this was back in 2007. I started a music blog, and back in the golden day of blogging when you could get traction, which I did. And but at that point, every independent band had maybe five marketing images, and every blogger was using those same five marketing images. And so I had this thought of what if I take my dad's DSLR camera with me to the concerts I was getting press passes to, and get some unique images that would set my content apart from everyone else's. And that's what happened. And as I started, social media was coming online as well. And as I started posting on Facebook and Flickr and such, people asked if they could pay me to take photos. And so started down that path. I was also doing some graphic design work at the time, which has continued over the years. And then once the lockdowns hit, video became part an essential part of what my clients needed. So I added that onto my repertoire. And then over the last couple of years, I've been diving into and playing a lot with AI art, photography, so yeah, that's kind of like the sum of all things that I'm doing, and the creative Sherpa part to circle back is I actually, like Suze was saying, I when I have a conversation with a client, I ask the questions, I try to get to the purpose that drives them, and
Yeah.
that informs me on the creative elements that'll best tell their stories. So that's I love the idea. It was cultural for me, and so yeah. So that's a little bit about that.
I like that that approach of digging in and finding the purpose. That's that. What are some questions that you ask? Like how do you fish that out of people? I have a hard time
It's a
telling people what my purpose is.
So, it's interesting. Like, there are people that know, what tends to drive them, obviously, but then there are others that, for example, I have done website design in the past, and I'm just working on a proposal at the moment. So I had a call with the client, and thankfully she had a great idea of where she was going. She wanted to help businesses take growth to the next level, but sometimes they'll have their taglines, they'll have their branding, their logo, etc., but they cannot seem to answer why, right? So that's what I try to get to. So it takes a little bit at times. It's not a straightforward process. I don't have a set of questions, but I will ask. I will pull at the threads that I see the spark, the gleam, as they're talking to me, and then pull on that thread and try to get to what motivates them, what gets them up in the morning.
Very good. All right. So, Suze, you brought up branding, which is
Mhm.
a favorite. We talk about branding a lot. What are from your perspective, what is branding when it comes to authors?
Absolutely. I love talking about branding. And what I usually start out by saying is, your visual brand or your image and
Right.
how that connects to what you're communicating. So, you feel that your message is the most important thing of what you're doing. And in essence, it is, but in reality, your personal appearance is as significant as your message. And so the personal branding is that message in a visual form, and that's spread across all of your platforms. And so, we talk about headshots and how important they are because that's where your, audience is going to see a picture of you. And if you think about your favorite brands, what makes them memorable? What value do they provide? And how do they communicate that visually? So, for example, if you're looking at someone's book, and what would you rather have a professionally shot by an expert, like a talented expert like our Arpit, that we're so lucky to have him at the conference, and that is captured with personality and purpose, as he has mentioned, and the lighting is beautiful. The taking the time to put together the attire that you're going to put together, and we can go deeper into that for sure with color as well, color analysis, or someone who's taken a picture, a selfie of themselves on their front steps and they're squinting,
Yeah.
and you're like, what's going on there? Or someone who's doing a video and they're maybe a dark background, or they're looking down, they're not connecting with eyeballs. Eyeballs are, as we say, the windows to the soul, right? But
Yeah.
it's what connects, and that's what you want to do with your audience. So just as a product and a service like your favorite brand is communicating that kind of thing that makes them different, that's attracting customers. You can craft your brand through a practice called personal branding. So the branding is the intention, so which is connected to purpose, right? So it's a strategic practice of defining and expressing your value, sharing your unique perspective, your story, and why you're so passionate about what you do as an author or as any kind of a business person. I mean, as an entrepreneur. So what the question is, what do you want to be known for, really? And how you show up conveys that message. That make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot to try to convey in a static, headshot image. Are there tips that we should start kind of throwing out there?
Yeah, yeah.
All
I
right.
have some. I'm sure Arpit has some. Arpit mentioned that his background in graphic design makes him even higher qualified to create these images. I was just looking back at some of the headshots from previous years before we had him, and there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And first of all, I'm glad that he uses a white background because that's much brighter. And he has a way of helping people relax and loosen up. And I was even telling him that, earlier, that that helps really capture that personality. So there's those kind of body language things that we need to, be aware of. But there's some other things that you can do in preparation for your headshot or your photo shoot or being on camera. So you can think about your style aesthetic or your
Hmm.
style statement. So that's something that I work on, obviously, with my clients, is to help them figure out what that is. It changes, um, based on what our lifestyle is, what we're doing, our work,
Right.
and for example, for me, I have these different style types that I work with. I even have a little quiz that you guys can take if you're interested in learning what yours is. But I have a very kind of cowboy, cowgirl, chic, feminine, bohemian kind of deal going on. It's a lot of prints. You can see, scarves and accessories. And then when it comes to colors that work for me, teal and pink are really good colors for me. I'm a warm summer. You guys, I don't know, you men may not remember when our moms were doing those
Yeah.
color me whatever's
Sarah
they were
just
back
went through one of those and she
back in the
wants me to
day.
do one. I haven't gotten around
Awesome.
to it yet.
Okay, I'm gonna hook you up. So it's one of my resources. I'll make sure we have in our show notes is
Mm.
a link to go and get something like a color analysis done. But it's really helpful because when you do something like that, it's a little bit more scientific than I think that we all have a intuition about what looks good on us. And
Yeah.
then certainly when people tell us, "Oh my God, you look so great today." Oh, that's awesome outfit. And you like look down like, "Oh, I'm wearing red. Maybe red's a good color for me." So like make a mental note when you
Yeah.
hear compliments like what you're wearing is looks good on you. But so I tend to wear those colors when I'm on camera, or also your brand colors could be partly incorporated into your website colors, your fonts, and your brand coloring on any type of literature that you're producing. For example, mine are orange and aubergine and kind of a blush, and I
Mm.
do wear those colors quite a bit. Today, I just had this set up for something else I was doing with the clothing, and it really complements this teal and turquoise,
Yeah.
which, by the way, turquoise is a color that looks good on everybody.
Yeah.
Like Arpit has a sort of a turquoise top on with a pink, so he's like he and I are really jiving with the colors today.
I did
Kevin,
not get the
I
memo.
did give you a memo. Wear a V-neck. A V-neck actually is a really flattering silhouette. So this is
Mm.
another tip: is that it shows a little bit of skin, which skin and eyeballs are relatability. So
Okay.
I always tell people, when in doubt, wear a jewel tone, which is, colors of jewels. What are those? Like, ruby red, emerald green, sapphire blue, and wear a V-neck. And boom, you got, at least you're halfway there. Um, yeah. And then as far as, again, if you're not sure about what your style is, think about style icons that could help form and inform that look for you. So for example, if you're a guy, just go on Instagram, look at Brad Pitt. I mean, he just
Mm.
kills it. And meaning like his style, there's a real super casualness to him, but everything looks really luxe but easy. It's like, okay, get a bunch of pictures of Brad Pitt, put him in a little album or on a canvas sheet. And that can start informing you even like what you want to buy, what clothes you want to buy. And you can buy them at any price point. Go to a resale shop. You know, every major city has great vintage shops where you can. I love vintage because it's one of a kind. No one else is going to
Yeah.
have that. But it's a good way on a budget for you to like build a wardrobe that complements your style or creates a style statement. And and then I have some examples of authors I could, but I've been talking for a while, but I could tell you like a couple of people to look out for
Yeah.
if you're at the conference. Um, just quickly, Jonathan Yanez, love him. He's
Mhm.
always on brand because he's got the werewolf kind of thing, and he does have some T-shirts with some graphic, kind of very graphic looking wolves. They don't look like concert tees if you notice him. He's got a jacket. He's always wearing like a blazer jacket. He just looks sharp, especially with his beard. So it's also how he is groomed, right? So shout out to Jonathan. Amanda Trainer, or Trailer, sorry, aka Amanda Clay.
Yeah.
She's mystery thriller and some little bit of romance. She always kills it. I mean, now that she's a mom, she's not wearing the stilettos as much anymore.
Yeah.
She's got the dresses and the heels and the lipstick, and she just really embodies, a creative author in that space. Like you
Hmm.
think, oh, she must be in that cool space. So, Ernie Dempsey is another one.
Yeah.
He has this cool kind of, look that complements his genre. So those are just people that I wanted to shout out. And then like Joe as well. Like, Joe
Yeah.
always shows up in, like, when he's speaking, he's usually wearing like a jacket, and it's not always a structured one. Sometimes they're soft, like a sweatshirt material, with, cool shirt and good looking jeans that fit him. Now, of course, he has the advantage of me doing his shopping, but
Yeah. And
he's,
I'm about to
he's
say, I'm
those are
trying
just
not to be
icons that you
offended,
can help
by the
you.
way, that Ernie Dempsey got a mention, but I didn't. So,
Oh,
yeah.
geez. Ernie and I go back with his
Yeah.
hoodie jacket look.
Yeah.
So,
He's my brother from another mother. We're fine. We're good.
yeah,
I can, if anybody's gonna outdress me, I'd rather it be Ernie than anybody else.
it could
Uh,
be Ernie. Good.
Arpit, let's talk about because photography involves there's a lot of nuance to it. Composition is the biggest thing. When it comes to headshots, though, like what's what should authors be thinking about when they come to you for a headshot at this thing, other than dressing the part? Like, how do you handle directing
Yeah,
them?
yeah. I mean, dressing is a big part, and not just the aesthetics, but making sure that you either iron or steam your clothes before you go in for the headshots. Makeup for just refreshing the makeup if you've been if your sessions later on in the day, for example. Since this is the conference is in Vegas, good night of sleep. Highly recommend that
Good luck.
because
Right.
yeah, right.
Hydrate with
Hydrate.
water.
Yes, exactly.
Um,
Yeah, I mean the dry air over there, in addition to just all night partying, it does some terrible things. But yeah, I mean I've had people that by day three they're like, yeah, I don't think the headshot's going to happen this year. They've kind of burnt themselves out. So yeah, those are a couple of things that I recommend. And then I know, I mean, Joe, Susan and I talked about this when we chatted earlier in the year, but writers are very introverted, introspective, self-conscious. As am I, by the way, which is why I was like, can you tell me what we're going to be talking about?
Not the way it works, Arpit.
but and so I understand that. So my job is to, and Susan brought this up earlier, is to make someone feel comfortable. And so one of the reasons that I wear this pink jacket often, I wore it at the conference last year. I wear it at events that I shoot as well. And the reason I do that is it softens my approach. Pastel pink is not threatening in the slightest, and then I usually have some form of Hawaiian shirt underneath it,
You've clearly never been attacked by shellfish.
that's accurate, and I hope that never happens. Yeah, so it's one of those things as well as I tend to soften my voice, especially if I sense anxiety. I tell people to take a second, take a minute if they need to take a few breaths, and then over the years just learn a few mechanisms to diffuse anxiety, to lighten the mood, and because I've had authors come in and that just have had terrible experiences in the past. I remember one lady in particular had said, "Hey, good luck with getting my photo because I've had professional photographers tell me that I'm not photogenic," which is heartbreaking, right? And my response was that person probably wasn't a professional if they said that to you, but
were they using an iPhone?
Not from what I gather, but
yeah.
There are so many stories like that, and so without trivializing someone's experience, how do you make them feel comfortable? How do you make them feel seen and heard? And so there's a lot there, and so and to be able to do that when you have 1,700, 1,800 attendees with sort of an open door policy as far as come in as time permits for you, and I'll be there. So on average, the sessions were maybe a minute to 2 minutes, and so obviously I've been doing this a long time, 17 some years now, but still there are moments where it takes a little bit longer, and that's fine. But yeah, everyone that comes in, I want them to feel feel seen, feel heard, feel valued, and that's my purpose. That drives me. That gets me up in the morning, is to show people the best version of themselves, just to show them what they may not be seeing about themselves, and that's why even after the days are over, I usually spend time, around others, just so if they want to get to know me, if they want to feel a little bit more comfortable before they come in, I give that space as best as I can, and yeah, so those are just a few things that help me get the best possible photos I can.
So one of the things that has always been a challenge for me in getting a photograph is my smile. I have, for some reason, I smile a lot, but when it comes to like smiling on purpose, it always looks like I'm trying to smile on purpose. So what's the tip there? Like, how do you deal with that?
So I usually, if someone, because I can see the tension in the shoulders, I can see, they're forcing a smile. So I usually tell them I'll get a few shots just to show them how comfortable the whole process is, like or painless the whole process is. It's not going to be this long drawn out thing. But then I usually have them take a deep breath in, exhale, and smile. And it's almost impossible not to smile because it's a very relaxing thing that happens when you take a deep breath in and release. Although I will say there were a handful of people last year that did not smile, and to me that was actually impressive. But they refused to smile anyway. So, but yeah, that usually tends to work. And then the other thing I also do is to have them kind of shake things off and just go crazy for a second, and they can't help smile because
Yeah.
they just did something foolish that they weren't planning on doing. And
Yeah, make
so
them
those have been
dance.
like a couple of things that,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
And the thing
And
is,
you
like,
can practice.
so I'm a thriller writer, and so I have this notion that my photo should look like I should look a little bit severe, but I can't pull it off. Like, I can't do like, I don't want to necessarily smile. I want to look brooding, but I can't look
right.
brooding.
You're doing it with your just what you're doing with your forehead right there, furrow the brow, and that gets you halfway there.
Oh, okay.
Honestly,
Well, good tip. All
You
right.
should practice, Kevin. Just practice. I mean, that does sound weird, but it actually is really helpful. Take a bunch of selfies,
Yeah.
see which ones land for you, and then you can even save those and show them to Arpit
And say, okay,
when you come
want to look
to
like
the
this, only
conference.
better.
Do your headshot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there have been authors that have come in saying similar things, right? Like my brand is more serious, and so I do work with them now. They may want more dramatic lighting. Like that's not the nature of this particular offering,
Yeah.
but those are things that that do like. If we have the time, I have this short story about Lee Bardugo, who did the why am I blanking on the book series now? Shadow and Bone series, right? So before that, she was a makeup artist, and I had the opportunity to work with her a couple of times. And at that point, she was saying that she had just secured a deal to have her books published. Who knew the phenomenon that would turn out to be? But her headshots are very dark and moody and brooding, which is perfect for her brand, right?
Yeah.
So, but even in the white backdrop headshot setup, there's still ways to do something that's more serious, something that's more brooding, and so it's not if your brand is not one that requires smiling, just tell me and I'll accommodate there. So
Yeah. And you mentioned the background, like because you're doing this on like a neutral, like blank white. Is it white or how do you do the
yeah,
background?
we've done white, and it's the cleanest one, especially because there are many authors that come in that don't even have a headshot for, say, their LinkedIn, their
Yeah.
socials, and so a white backdrop makes it easy. It's a clean setup. It's recognized as there's no distraction, so it's recognized as such, and so that's for a conference, especially where you over the last 3 years, I have averaged 400 individuals. With 2022, I think I had like 500 some individuals that came through in a matter of 4 days, right? So
Wow.
to accommodate for because white is also the most forgiving. When you have color, you're worrying about shadows and such. So if you've got different frames, builds, etc., coming through, you're going to have more distracting backdrop. So white is the cleanest in, so it makes sense
And
for
these days,
comps.
I mean, if you wanted to take that headshot and take it into Photoshop, like Photoshop's got that
Mhm.
cool
The
background
generative
removal
fill.
and generative
Yeah,
fill. Yeah. So
it's a
Yeah,
you
good
could
place to
be,
exactly.
start.
yeah.
Yeah.
Canva the heck out of it, right? To just
Yep.
cut it out, Canva the heck out of it. But the thing about white I wanted to say is that it just brightens the overall appearance because it's reflective of the light. So you're going to have a better result, just like when you're on a Zoom call, if you're using some forward-facing light facing a window, um,
Yeah.
and reducing shadows and lines and things. But
Yeah.
so white is a really good choice for something like our event.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's certainly the easiest backdrop. I mean, unless you want to go for like full on like glamour shots. And I've got from one of the earlier years at 20 books, me and Nick Thacker and Roland Denzel did a whole bunch of silly headshots together with that guy. And I
Yeah.
put them together with like one of those howling wolf images. And
Nice.
like, Nick and I are holding each other and we got
I've seen them.
yeah,
They're
I'll
funny.
have to share that with
They're
you
good.
guys.
They're good.
We're gonna have to wrap up, which is sad because I'm enjoying this topic.
I know.
But
Let's keep going.
Well, we need to wrap up. We got to be fair to the
Yeah.
listener as well. But Suze, so in terms of like when this happens, how this happens, like what's the play here? What
Mhm.
should people expect?
Right. So, a couple of things to keep in mind. We're going to be working on a sign-up sheet, and that will give, people the ability to plan. So, knowing what day, they're going to be having their headshot, and there'll be some flexible timeframes. And once we have that ready, we're going to be blasting it out on our newsletter. So just make sure you guys are subscribed to the Author Nation newsletter so you can get all the, up to the minute, uh, information. And I also, one thing I want to mention too is to bring props for your
Oh, okay.
headshots. So, whatever it is that you're like, for me, I
If you're
got my
flying
books here
in,
or
make sure
whatever.
you're bringing your handgun.
Bring something. Yeah. But it could also help loosen you up, but also could be part of your branding. So, um,
I like
but
that.
yeah, so that's how it's going to go. Then you'll get an idea of what are the time frames and days that Arpit's going to be ready and where. Um, and then I also wanted to mention highly significant information about uh, our sponsor for the headshots is Matt Dinneman, the author of Crawler Carl. It's always hard to say that.
Dungeon
Um,
crawler Carl.
Dungeon,
And that's a
right?
tough
Say
one.
say
Yeah, it's
that 10
tough.
times fast.
Yeah,
But
no joke.
Matt's, such an amazing human, and he really believes in the importance, how vital it is, especially for new authors, to have these professional headshots. So he is sponsoring um, this, the ability to go into it. So just make sure you do it, guys. I
Yeah.
mean, you've got this. It's part of your ticket for
Yeah, I
the
was gonna
show.
say, tell
It's
them what it costs,
included.
Suze. Tell them how much
It's
it
included.
costs.
It is invaluable because it is included into the ticket price.
That's right.
So
So effectively free. Yeah, if you're
effectively
going
free.
anywhere.
Yeah. I don't like to say I don't use word free because it doesn't it like has a different word meaning for people. But
It is sans rate. Is that how you say it? Okay, so wrapping up now. You mentioned it, Suze. People should go check things out on the Author Nation website. That's authornation.live, where you can get on the mailing list. Of course, you want to do that because that's how you're going to hear about signups for this stuff. And also, this is where you'll be able to get your ticket. There's a ticket portal right there on the top. Get your ticket. Make sure you're doing this. People forget. I always forgot. I kept if it wasn't for the fact that I was like an industry guest all the time, I'd have missed every single one of these because I completely forget all the time that I have to actually buy a ticket. So go buy your ticket at authornation.live.
yep,
Suze and
yep,
Arpit, thank you
your
both
ticket.
for being
Yep.
on the show.
Our contact information will be in show notes. So for those
Yes.
who are listening, you want to get more information about both Arpit and me, you can go to SueSolaryStyle.com and get some tips on what to wear, how to show up for headshots. And Arpit, you can give your information there.
Yeah, it's visualsbyarpit.com. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. And just to echo, big thanks to Matt Dinneman. He is just an awesome, creative dude and just all around good guy. So, yeah, excited for November.
Me too. All right,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys,
Thank
so
you.
much. This is super fun.
All right. See you in November.
Bye bye.